Welcome back, America. Representative Ro Khanna represents California's 17th Congressional District. That's the Silicon Valley. But he's from Pennsylvania, so I'm sure he is cheering on the Big Ten's triumph in the national championship. Isn't that right, Congressman? Go Bucks!
Well, I was a Michigan fan, but amazing. Ohio State ends up losing to Michigan and then winning the national championship. Certainly the coach saved his job, huh?
Oh, Ryan Day would have been there anyway, but I didn't know that you rooted for that team up north. I went to law school up there, but I still don't root for them. Congressman, you're a Yale. Oh, okay.
My father went there when he came to the country, and he every Saturday, back when he was watching when I was growing up, it was to be with Paterno and the Nittany Lions and Lou Holtz and the Notre Dame and Bo Schembechler in Michigan. So I grew up watching them.
We are all products of our parents' sports habits. That's why I'm an Ohio State fan, even though I went to Michigan Law School, and why my boys root for the Browns. Congressman, I want to get to the executive order the president issued yesterday revoking Lyndon Johnson's 1965 order counting by race, as well as all subsequent executive orders and memoranda on that, returning, in my view, the federal government to the constitutional position that we are blind to race, religion, ethnicity, gender, country of origin. I'm very happy about this, EO. What do you think?
I disagree with it. Let me say this. I believe in excellence. I believe that we have to have a society of merit. And I believe that we need to look at people's economic considerations in assuming that as well. And that means if people are working class, if they're white, they need to have a fair shot and affirmative outreach. But I also think that race remains a factor in the country. And if what it means is that we're going to make a bigger effort to outreach to people so that we can get the highest excellence wherever they are, then I'm for that policy.
Now, Congressman, that's unconstitutional if you make an effort and you're the government. It's fine if you're a private institution if you don't want federal money, but the federal money should not go to any institution that is encouraging people to count by race. It's simply unconstitutional.
Well, I think it is unconstitutional if you have quotas, if you have set-asides, if you say 10% has to go to the African-American community or the Asian-American community. But if you're saying, look, in the Inflation Reduction Act, only 1.5% of the funding for a lot of that business is going to black and brown contractors. So there's great talent there, and we want the government to make sure that they're aware of these programs and that there's sufficient outreach. I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, we want the genius and talent of every American. But of course, I oppose quotas and oppose a set-aside.
Well, what's the difference? I'm glad to know that's in the Inflation Reduction Act. Another reason to strike it down. It's unconstitutional. I wasn't aware that you had a set-aside based on race in the Inflation Reduction Act. Is that a progressive?
No,
is that deep in your soul?
There's not a set-aside. I said I oppose set-asides. I said but I think we have to make an affirmative effort for outreach. That if there are communities that have not gotten contracts. By the way, it includes, in my book I wrote about rural America, that a lot of these IT contracts, rural Americans are excluded. And if we have a federal contract, why not have 10% of jobs in there targeted towards rural America, towards deindustrialized towns? Why should all the jobs come to Silicon Valley? So my point is, let's look at people and places that have been excluded from the modern economy. Some of them are in deindustrialized towns that are predominantly white. Some of them are in communities that are black and brown. And let's make it affirmative action to outreach.
Now, there's nothing unconstitutional wrong about targeting rural America or indeed a city or a state. There are prohibited actions in the 14th Amendment. You can't count by race, gender, ethnicity, religion, country of origin. It's okay to count by economic circumstances, but did you actually set aside money for different ethnic groups?
No. I said I oppose the set-asides.
Okay.
That's not part of the bill. I oppose that as a policy matter to quotas or set-asides. That was not part of the Inflation Reduction Act.
Now, you went to Yale Law School, right?
I did. It's been a long time.
Akil Amar? Did you have Akil Amar for your con law professor?
I did. I had Akil.
Okay, Akil is right on this stuff. He gets it. Did you miss class that day? Because the quota stuff or the set-asides or affirmative outreach, that's just doublespeak, Congressman, isn't it? It's just doublespeak.
Well, look, Akil's experience is similar to mine. My grandfather spent 4 years in jail alongside Gandhi fighting for independence, but we were beneficiaries and our parents of coming after 1965. And I went to public school. I grew up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. I grew up in a place that was 99% white. And I'll tell you, I grew up in a community that believed in me, that said, go do anything. I mean, to President Trump's speech where he said, in America, we do the impossible. That's how I grew up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. But that
Stand by, Congressman. I want to talk to you about one other executive order during the break about birthright citizenship. Stand by. With Congressman Khanna. Congressman, the president also issued an executive order purporting to change birthright citizenship away from the children born in the United States of parents who are not in the country legally. I think that the Supreme Court will take this up rather quickly and decide it rather quickly on behalf of the children, because I think birthright citizenship is in the 14th Amendment and it's clear. But Wong Kim Ark, which is the case that decided children born of non-citizens in the United States legally, is not dispositive. Do you think Donald Trump did a favor to those children because he's going to settle, or he's arranged for this settling of the case finally?
Well, that's pretty good spin. I'll answer that question. I want to ask you one question on this affirmative action. All of the HBCUs, 102 of them that produce Martin Luther King, W.B. Du Bois, Toni Morrison, the total endowment of them collectively is about $4 billion. The endowment of just Harvard is $50 billion. And my view is that as a society, we've got to recognize that there is still a long way to go to create equal opportunity in our society. Now, on the birthright citizenship, it's important to realize that this applies to lawful temporary immigrants. If you are here on a work visa, if you're here on a student visa, and you have a baby in America, then Trump's order says that baby is not American. We are a country where if you're born here, it doesn't matter who your parents are, who your grandparents are, what your religion is. You're American because of an allegiance to the Constitution, and this cuts right against that.
Well, let's make sure we don't mix our categories. If you're in the country legally and you have a baby, whether it's by green card, that is dispositively answered by the Supreme Court in Wong Kim Ark. They are citizens. What has never been answered by the Supreme Court are children of those who enter the country illegally or are on tourist visas, not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. We repatriate those who commit crimes, et cetera. I think that the court's going to answer this pretty much 7-2, 8-1, or 9-0, that they're all citizens. So Donald Trump told me a couple of weeks ago he's open to the dreamers. I think he did this to settle the right wing down and to get the case before the court. If that turns out that I'm right, that the court answers it this way, will you be happy that he issued the order?
No, because I don't think you need to take this to the Supreme Court, and I think he's playing a dangerous game in appeasing a political base. I guess here's what I'd like. You should get Elon Musk on and ask Elon Musk whether he thinks that the babies of Tesla employees who are on H-1B visas, if they have a baby, whether they should be American citizens. I mean, I think that this is a Trump fulfilling a campaign promise, but the problem is it gets at the heart of our country, which is that you're an American based on an allegiance to the Constitution and principles, not based on your bloodline.
I think Elon would say, I don't know him, I think he would say, run it up to the court, let's see what they say, because the court's going to agree that Wong Kim Ark answers dispositively the H-1B visa issue. Congressman, thank you. Always good to see you. Love that you come on. Go Bucks. We'll forgive you for rooting for that team up north.
We need more of this in this country.
All right, my friend. Be well.